All right, time now for business, and our team is at the World Economic Forum in Davos, where political and humanitarian business leaders mingle in the snowy Alps. And our business editor for France 24, Kate Moody, is standing by.
Hi, Will. Well, all eyes really are going to be on Donald Trump this Friday on the last day of the World Economic Forum for 2018. Since arriving on Thursday, the president has met with the leaders of two of America's traditionally closest allies, the UK and Israel, saying that ties with both remain very strong. He also had a dinner with some of Europe's top business leaders last night. Today will bring meetings with the presidents of Rwanda and Switzerland, as well, of course, as that big speech that's scheduled for 2 p.m. local time. It does remain to be seen what tone he'll actually strike. Will it be a really extreme isolationist version of that America First policy, or will he perhaps cater to his audience a little bit and play down protectionism? Now, we have seen a few signs that he might decide the latter, including that rather surprising something of an olive branch on immigration and a suggestion to CNBC that he would in fact consider rejoining the TPP, or Trans-Pacific Trade Deal, if the terms were more advantageous for Washington. He withdrew the U.S. from that agreement, of course, shortly after taking office last year. Now, to get some more perspective on these and other issues, I'm joined by Arancha Gonzalez, Executive Director at the International Trade Center, which is the joint development agency of the United Nations and World Trade Organization. Thanks for being with us today. Let's start with a little bit about Mr. Trump. In your view, do his words and actions represent the start of a trade war, or is that going too far?
Well, I'm always very cautious about the word war in relation to trade, because I think trade needs predictability, stability, which doesn't mean that when there are disagreements in the area of trade, countries make their views known and take action. It's perfectly possible. But war, I refrain from using that word. I think it is a bit too harsh when it relates to international trade.
Now, he certainly has been raising tensions, though, with his statements. We can't deny that. Is there something to be said for his vision of how trade for work, of putting his own country and his own country's interests first?
Well, for now, it's a little bit unclear what he is looking for. What he wants is to rebalance America's trade figures that he has said. How he does that is not clear. In the meantime, he's taking action against what he considers to be unfair trading practices. We saw it this week with a safeguard measure on washing machines and on solar panels. There is a response from some of his trading partners thinking that that action was also not granted, not fair. It remains to be seen. This matter will be brought now to the World Trade Organization, who will have to look on who's right and who's wrong. But I think there has been a bit more bark than there has been bite. And there is no clarity as to what's the direction. This is why I think there is so much curiosity here in Davos for what he would have to say.
Now, you mentioned the World Trade Organization. He has had very strong words about that organization. How does that kind of a stance from the world's biggest economy affect these international organizations?
Well, it affects the World Trade Organization significantly, mostly because the U.S. is one of its main stakeholders in terms, given its volume of international trade. When you represent 20% of international trade, your stance matters a lot in the World Trade Organization. When you're a founding member of this organization, like the United States is, it matters a lot to the organization. This is why many people are telling the United States, if you have grievances, engage in a conversation with your trading partners. Say what you need, say what you want, say what you consider requires reform, change, and then let's engage into a discussion. I'm sure others would have other grievances and other questions and other ideas and suggestions for reform. They will bring them to the table also, but the question is whether we do all these reforms in a cooperative manner, in a collaborative spirit, in give and take, or whether it's this sense of unilaterally coming and saying, well, that's what I want, either I get it or I just walk away. So these are the fundamental questions that many trade wonks are basically grappling with today.
Another one of the big issues that he's been talking about, of course, is the renegotiation of NAFTA. As far as you know, where do they stand on that?
Well, I think the jury is out. They've made their views very clear. They want a certain number of things to be changed, but their trading partners, Canada and Mexico, also consider some things to be red lines, and some of the things are okay, are acceptable to them. It's an open question. I think it's a matter that if I were in their shoes, would tread carefully because of the impact that their decisions would have on economic operators on the ground. Look at American farmers and ranchers that depend a lot on access to the Mexican and Canadian markets. For the exports, they are looking at the renegotiation with a lot of trepidation. So I think, again, question is, do we do this in a cooperative manner? Do we do this in a spirit of give and take, or do we just simply try to impose our views on other trading partners?
I mean, unfortunately, don't have much time left. Just one quick question on the world's second largest economy, China. Where does it now stand in the global trade?
Well, I think they have put forward some suggestions for areas where they would like the World Trade Organization to negotiate. They think, for example, that facilitating investment is a big area of interest to them. They've been joined by 70 other countries. I think it is trying to find areas where it can constructively engage in a cooperative spirit. I think there is a sense of positive engagement on their side. This is, in my view, the value of the World Trade Organization, providing a forum where trade and the interrelation between our economies can be managed in a cooperative manner.
Right, Arancha Gonzalez, thank you so much for joining us here on France 24. We just have time for a quick check on the markets. It's a mixed picture in Asia. The Nikkei sinking slightly this hour. The U.S. dollar a bit wobbly overnight as the Trump administration gave mixed signals about its stance on currency. We'll have more on that and all the latest action from Davos coming up throughout the day.
All right, thank you, Kate. Kate Moody reporting from Davos. Go get some hot chocolate, Kate. Keep warm.